In a faraway city called Abidjan, the elephants will be hosting the African wild dogs, lions, scorpions, eagles, stallions, and the boys from South Africa will be there as well. This is not a story about animals. I'm talking about the African Nations Cup. The African Cup of Nations 2023, yes, 2023. The tournament was earlier scheduled to take place in 2023, but for some reasons, it was postponed and it will now take place in a few hours from now. Today, the 13th of January 2024. The African Nations Cup is the biggest football event on the continent of Africa. This year's edition is sponsored by Total Energies. This year's edition is the 34th edition. The first edition took place in 1957. And just as the world has evolved and advanced since 1957, this tournament has also evolved and advanced. I'm sure the jerseys no longer look the way they used to look in 1957. And we've had so much development in terms of stadium, facilities, and in many areas. This year's event promises to be very exciting. Let us now take a look at some data analysis. So 24 teams will be participating in this edition of the African Nations Cup. This is a list of all the teams that will be participating in this year's edition. Each of the African teams that will be participating have their nicknames. Let's take a few examples. The Ivory Coast national team is nicknamed the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. The team from Morocco is nicknamed the Atlas Lions. The team from South Africa is nicknamed the Boys. That is Bafana Bafana. Senegal is nicknamed the Teranga Lions. Nigeria is nicknamed the Super Eagles, and Ghana, the Black Stars. This is just taking a few. Now, we'll be coming back to this table. Let's check. Let's take a look at our dashboard. So here we can see the top 10 countries with the most appearance. At this tournament, Egypt leads with the number of appearances. Egypt will be making its 26th appearance. That is, out of the 34 editions so far, Egypt is making the 26th appearance. They are closely followed by Ivory Coast, who are making their 25th appearance. Ghana is making 24th. Cameroon, 21st. Cameroon and Tunisia are both making their 21st appearance. Nigeria and Algeria are making their 20th, as well as Democratic Republic of Congo. Morocco is making her 19th appearance, and Zambia her 18th appearance. Now, here are the top 5 countries with the most cups. Egypt leads again. Here we can see that out of the 34, the past 33 editions, Egypt has won 7, Cameroon has won 5, Ghana has won 4, Nigeria has won 3, Democratic Republic of Congo, Algeria, and Ivory Coast have all won 2 each. Now let's look at the host countries by, by their region. Hold on. Good. So here we can see that out of the 34 editions, the North African, the North Africans have the lion's share, that is the biggest share. Out of the 34 editions, the 13 of it has been hosted by North African teams. That is 38% of the total number of tournaments that have been hosted so far. They are closely followed by West Africa. West Africa has hosted 10, which is 29% of the total number of tournaments. East Africa and South Africa have the least share. They both have 9%. Let's go back to our dashboard. So here we are going to look at the countries who have hosted the tournament and won it on home soil. Here we can see Ghana. Ghana did so in 1963 and 1978. Ethiopia hosted and won in 1962. Sudan, Nigeria, Sudan in 1970, Nigeria in 1980, Algeria in 1990, South Africa in 1996, Tunisia in 2004, and Egypt in 2006. Now the question is, will Ivory Coast be able to replicate this? Will Ivory Coast be able to win this tournament on her home soil? Well, the probability is 9 out of, because we have 8 teams here, with Ghana doing it twice. So meaning, if we are to go by probability, we will say the Ivory Coast have a 9/34 chance of winning this tournament, which is 26.5% chance. Now let's look at the past champions by their region. So out of the past 33 editions, the North Africans have won 12. The North Africans have won 12, which is 36%, while the West Africans have won 10, which is 10%. The East Africans have only won 1. They have the least share of trophies. They've only won 1. Back to our dashboard. So now we are going to take a look at participants by region. Okay, so now earlier we said 24 teams are participating at this year's tournament. Now we are going to break down the teams into the regions that they represent. Out of the 24 teams that will be participating at this year's tournament, 10 will be coming from West Africa. The African region has the lion's share in terms of numbers, a share of 42%. The next to the West Africans are the North Africans, who have just 5, which is just half the number of the West African teams. 5 teams will be coming from North Africa. The region with the least is the East Africa, with just 2 teams coming from East Africa. So now let's go back to our table. Sorry. Now, we'll be doing some analysis. So I would like you to pay attention to these 2 columns: the host region and the winning region. So let's use our filters to check. Let's start with the North African region. Now we can see that out of the 12 cups that the North Africans have won, let's see how many they've won in each region. So when the tournament was hosted in North Africa, which is their region, how many were they able to win? Let us check. So when the tournament was hosted in North Africa, they were able to win 8. 8 out of 12. That's a large number. So let's see how many they were able to win in East Africa when it was hosted in East Africa. They were only able to win 1. Let's also see how many they were able to win in South Africa. 1 as well. And how many in West Africa? Well, okay, they've won 2 in West Africa. They won in Burkina Faso 98 and in Ghana 2008. So what this shows us is that the North African teams seems to be more comfortable when they are in their own region. They have won 8 times out of the total of 12 that they have won has been in their own region. Let's check if this hypothesis of being comfortable in their own region holds true for other regions. Okay. So let's check. Let's check for the West Africans. So the West Africans teams have won 10. Now let's see how many they've won in each region. So when it was hosted in the Central African region, they've won it twice. In North Africa, let's see how many. 3 times. In South Africa, once. And in West Africa, let's see how many. 4. So again, we can see that this hypothesis of being more comfortable in their own region holds true for West Africa. They've won more of their tournaments on the West African soil. So let's move to one more. Let's check one more region to see if this hypothesis still holds true. Let's check for the Central African region. Okay. So the Central African region have won 8. 1, 2, 3, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's see how many they have won per region. When it was hosted in Central Africa, which is their own region, they've won just 2. They've won 1 in East Africa. And they've won 2 in North Africa. They've won 3, which is more than they have won in their region. 3 on West African soil. So what this shows is that this hypothesis of being more comfortable in their region doesn't hold true for the Central Africa region. They seem to be more comfortable in the West African region. And since this tournament will be taking place in West Africa, then it means they have a high chance of winning the tournament. Let's go. So if we put this together with this, the data we have here that shows that the West African have the largest share in terms of numbers, having 10 teams here, and then also the fact that the tournament will be taking place in West Africa, which is the comfortable zone for the West African teams. Then we can say that the cup may most likely come to a West African team or the Central African team. We need to take note that the North African teams are not, data has shown that they are not very comfortable on the West African soil. And then the South and East region, that is the South Africa region and the East African region, has never won a tournament on the West African soil. So what we are saying in essence is, based on this historical data, then it is likely for us to see the champions coming from either the West African region or the Central African region. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching. My name is David Damola Ogunyemi.